Hey, you've been getting fed really bad information for a long time. And what I'm about to show you is going to be really shocking. But if you can keep an open mind and perhaps be ready to make a paradigm shift, then you might play the best golf of your life and hit it longer and straighter than you ever have before with less effort. So a lot of golfers out there have completely the wrong idea on what a golf swing should feel like, should be like. They want to be strong, try to muscle through the ball by pulling the arms into it. Or some of you out there believe that you want to delay, and even restrict, because being flippy is your enemy. So of course you've got to delay, hold, flat wrist, don't flip, don't let go, don't ever let go. That is the idea that I see in many other YouTube videos. And you're welcome to keep the status quo, but this is going to mean that a lot of very small in stature and muscle mass, like LPGA ladies, are going to easily outdrive you while looking like they're using half the energy that you are. So what is it, you ask? This is the concept of a golf swing being as close to a bullwhipping action or a towel cracking action as you can possibly make it, traveling down to the club head. Now you can easily start to learn this sensation if you were just to take a length of, say, nylon cord or rope, something with a little bit of weight to it, and just practice whipping waves down it, or taking a towel of some sort and winding it up and then cracking it. You start to get the sensation of what a golf swing is really all about. And when you start to realize that nothing about the body on either of those two activities, the body is not rigid there. The body is very loose and very supple. If you're going to whip something, whip a towel. The body is incredibly supple. It's almost like I want the wrists just flapping back and forth in their full range of motion, dangling from the ligaments, responding to the action of the joints above them rather than trying to input their own action. This is, when you get this principle down, you can create a hell of a lot more club head speed. Now let's take a look at a real bullwhip. And this is what absolutely blew my mind, and I think it's going to blow your mind too. This is just a very petite female cracking this whip. So the whip is breaking the sound barrier. That's established science, right? It's breaking the sound barrier. So you're talking about the tip of the whip going 6, 7, 8, 900 miles per hour perhaps at its fastest. But I want you to watch this arm swing in slow motion. This is incredible. You're noticing that her arm, she's doing an overhand version, her arm supplely snaps forward and down, but it stops right about level with her waist. It literally just comes to a stop suddenly. Meanwhile, the entire bullwhip is still way behind her, curled up, and you can see that everything after this, her action is all done. She's done. She's just modeling at this point. And now you're seeing how the action, how the force that she's doing, this whipping action that she's done, now responds. And the bullwhip unravels and whips around over her shoulder. And then the tip of it just absolutely explodes through space as it, the last few inches unravel, pa-pam, and it just, you can see it breaking the sound barrier. So this brings two extraordinary principles of the golf swing into focus. Number one, that when you're seeing the swing go from here down to here, you're really not seeing very much more force being applied to the shaft. Starting at about here, where right about here is where peak force is measured. So you have forces applied to the grip with your wrists and your hands, and some of it by turning the body as well applies torque to the club. You start throwing this thing way back here, it starts ramping up. Same as when her arm is starting to go, there's a point where she's applying a peak force to the handle of that whip long before she reaches the end. You're just not seeing a response yet, just like you see with the whip. Appears to be still coiled. Isn't that funny that that thing does most of its uncoiling after her torque is completely finished and she's just standing motionless? So it's force starts to ramp up, peaks here. But after this, it flatlines very quickly. So by the time you reach the ball, the amount of torque that you're now applying into the grip is flatlining towards zero. It almost reaches zero before you hit the ball. So it goes from very high to very short. So that's one principle that's beautifully spotlighted by this slow motion bullwhipping video. Apply the throwing force from the top. Freewheel through impact. You feel force here and then relaxation here. As Mike Austin used to put it, my mentor, he would say, the guy who could go from full muscular contraction to full muscular relaxation in the quickest period of time will be the guy who drove the ball the farthest.
This is where I get the jump on almost anyone when I try to hit the ball. When I move my weight over here and my shoulders rotate in this manner, I give the club a throw so it will catch up. Your stimulus begins right here. Everything works as a unit with the hands trying to work faster than the arms so they can't take up the slack.
Now the second principle that absolutely blows my mind about this bull whipping video is that she stops suddenly. So she doesn't have to keep going in order to make that whip continue to go around her. Her motion is done, so she accelerates that handle and then suddenly stops it right here. And it's that sudden stop that really gives the energy to travel the length of the whip and reach finally the tip. And so you have the same amount of energy that's going to a lighter and lighter in mass part of the whip all the way out to that little tip, which is just strings with almost no mass at all. And its energy is traveling out and accelerating the tip faster, faster, faster as the weight gets less and less. The energy is carried outwards. It's another principle that the longest hitters use. Check out some of these guys on tour who just hit the ball a long, long way. And what they do, you can't do it because, again, this is not exactly a bull whip, but the principles are still there. She's going from max handle speed to zero suddenly. In a towel crack like the one you're seeing on the screen, the handle or the grip, the end of the towel that he's holding actually pulls backwards right before the tip cracks, like this. The same principle is true with the longest drivers that you admire on TV. Well, it may be impossible to make this end of the stick actually stop. Probably impossible. If you could do it, what would be likely to happen if you were to do this and release at the same time is you'd get thrown backwards. You'd be thrown head over heels, probably 7 or 8 feet backwards by the opposing force suddenly accelerating going this way. But what it's telling us is that for every mile an hour from its peak, which is right about here, that you can make this end of the stick slow down. And even better, if you can even make it curve upwards and leftwards while it's slowing down. It's acting as a massive multiplier to the head of the club, just like the bullwhip or the towel crack is doing to the tips. This is the tip of our bullwhip here. So the best, longest hitters are going to bring their handle speed down by somewhere in between, say, 8 to 10 miles an hour on the PGA Tour, and possibly as much as 12 or 13 or even 14 miles an hour on the longest long drivers on the long drive tour. That's how much they're slowing the handle down. So if you can slow that handle down by a good third, let's say that you are pretty efficient at getting that handle speeding up by driving your body and turning, you really get that handle moving down. And let's say you can get it to 21 miles an hour, and then you can slow it down to 14 miles an hour by the time it reaches impact. That's a really good ratio, and you're going to get a huge whipping multiplier to that club head speed. So somebody who does this would look be something really similar to what you might see in a longer hitting LPGA pro, where it doesn't look like they're moving that fast through the ball, but yet that club head comes whipping through it, you know, a good 100 or even 105 miles per hour. And all of a sudden they're out there 280, 290 yards. So here is a chart up on the screen by one of the smartest PhDs in the golf field. His name is Sasha McKenzie. He's got a major winner on his hitting bay, and he's recording him using 3D cameras, and he's measuring these forces acting on the handle and what point in the swing they're acting on the handle. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. Fairly similar to what we're seeing in the bullwhipping video, is that you're seeing the forces are starting. Some golfers, they even start to throw and uncock the wrists before the backswing ever finishes. How do you think it's got to decelerate to zero and turn the other way? Well, you've got to apply an opposite force, sometimes before your club even sets. And then the force ramps up, peaks about here, and then flatlines to zero. It's proof there too, as well as in the bullwhip. So what are we to learn from all these examples? If you're not a big hitter, and this sounds really mumbo-jumbo technical to you, what I do want you to remember is some fundamentals of hitting the ball far are these. You want to treat it as a whipping activity, not a pulling or a pushing or being rigid and strong, but instead be supple. Can you get your body from your neck all the way to your toes to be super duper supple, extremely loose, not trying to be strong, be the opposite of strong. So your body is supple, get your wrists and forearms real supple and loose, get rid of some of that grip pressure that you're squeezing that leads to you trying to pull and be strong. Instead, start treating this as close as you can get to a whipping action. Now, a whipping action, you're going to make the tip of the stick break your sound barrier, which is your audible. A lot of golfers can't do this. Make a swoosh. I'm making a swoosh by keeping my wrist and forearm extremely flexible. I'm going to give the handle a little bit of acceleration at first, and then I'm going to slow it down just like that. And you can get the tip of that thing going 100 and then 120 and then maybe 140 miles per hour, and possibly then do it with one arm like I'm doing it, and you start to experience the whip. You're starting to experience what I'm talking about in all these technical charts and videos. Is you're experiencing the force ramping up back here. You're not experiencing or attempting to delay or to hold. It is just a rapid acceleration or rapid increase of torque freely into the ball. Not trying to keep the left wrist flat. Not trying to hold the club face square. Not trying to keep from flipping. In fact, you're trying to get as flippy as you possibly can. You're just doing it by moving your body. You're moving it and getting the flip to happen out here about 30 inches past the ball. But you want to get as flippy as you possibly can around the correct arc. Now, put those principles together. Super supple. Think of cracking a whip instead of trying to be strong. Stay nice and relaxed. And whip that club. Turn and whip that club out in front of the ball. Attempt to make that whooshing sound about 30 inches in front of the ball. You're going to find yourself swinging with more club head speed than you ever dreamed possible, and start to hit the ball a long way. So I hope I convinced some of you out there. Some of you, like in the Matrix, you're just not ready to be woken up yet. You're just going to be in your slumber, and you're going to stay in your given ways, that the angle is held to here. The longer you hold it, the farther you can hit it. Flat left wrist, forward leaning club, never let go. You're going to stay asleep, and you're never going to play your best golf. But whether or not I have swayed you, leave a comment down below. If you still disagree with me, tell me why. If I opened your eyes, let me know down in the comments. Give these ideas a try. Let me know how they go. Hey, thanks so much for watching all the way through the video. It really helps. Hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, visit my website, hititlonger.com. Email me at this address for in-person lessons or for FaceTime lessons or for video analysis. I would love to help you with your swing. And if I don't see you in the next video, I hope I see you longer and straighter down the fairway. Everybody take good care.